Lila, how you doing this morning?
Good morning, Victor. Pretty well. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm excited for another episode of Real Estate Corner with an interview of Lila. Uh,
Yay.
and we're going to be talking about the home buying process in Spain today. I'm excited. Are you excited?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So we were asking people a number of questions, what they wanted to know about the home buying process. So maybe you can answer very briefly what it's like.
Mm-hmm.
If you can summarize that for us, and then we can just jump into some of the other questions. Does that make sense to you?
With pleasure.
All right. Let's do it. So, what is the process to buy a home in Catalonia?
Well, it's not the simplest one, but it's quite straightforward, I'd say. Usually, when you found a place you want to call home, you need to leave a reservation fee, which is usually about 1,000, 3,000. So it's like a minor sum of the entire price, which of course goes into the count, like into the sum of price later on. But that reservation is needed first to show your legitimate intention to buy it. Secondly, to stop others clients to make a visit at the property. So that's basically yours until signed. And to prepare the next step of the buying home, it's a contract of arras. It's a pre. I'm not even sure how it's like. What's the term in English? It's like pre-sale time when is everything is agreed on. So it's kind of like a resume short version of the full purchase contract of the property. And to prepare that one correctly, you also need like some time, couple of days or so on. So steps wise, first of all, you need to leave the reservation fee about 1,000, 3,000. Then a couple of days, a buyer and an owner are signing arras contract, which is a 10% of the price of the house, agreed house. um, and then this arras is prepared all the terms on which the apartment, the house is bought, and states the deadline of signing the purchase contract, the final one, when everyone is ready, every like all the documents are checked, notary is mm, willing to accept it, etc. So that's the second step. And the third step is obviously the purchase contract, the purchase deal, which is usually signed at notary in Spain. And that's when the deed is done and you can get your keys to the apartment.
Okay. So, this sounds kind of complicated. Do you need to have a lawyer manage this process?
I would advise to have a lawyer, first of all, and I think it's one of the main arguments for the lawyer, is because no one else is kept responsible when the deed is done. Notary is only there to, I mean, of course, they're checking documents to the property, but they are not carrying any legal responsibility for what is signed in the compravente, in the purchase contract. Obviously, the seller might not provide all the documents, and once they receive the money, it's pretty hard to find the seller, even if they not hiding, but it's just like complicated thing. And with lawyer, you usually just feel safer because you always like, if it's a competent lawyer, of course, which we usually work with, it's just like a lot of headache, saving person who is navigating through the entire process. And especially they can advise you on your personal tax situation while buying the property as well. So that's because it usually goes along like two things.
Okay.
So I usually recommend, I all the deals we sign with my clients, we always go with a lawyer, and we always happy with the decision at the end.
Okay. What would what's the cost of a lawyer?
It's flexible depending on the price of the property. Usually, it's from a half to 1.5% from the price of the apartment or house.
Oh,
So they
wow.
usually work with the percentage fee.
I see. And a question that I've had in the past, can people pay in cash or are they required to pay in cash?
Absolutely not. In Spain, we have this law that if you're legal resident here, the maximum price you can pay by cash is 1,000 euros. And as far as this morning, I haven't seen an apartment in Catalonia cost 1,000 euros. If you're non-resident, this maximum is at 10,000 euros, but still, it's pretty limited amount. So no, the answer is no. However, of course, when the deal is between owner and the buyer, they might negotiate something aside, but that is something I would not be seeing, nor the lawyer nor the notary. But yeah, no, usually it's
Okay.
not the deal here.
All right. And so if you can't pay in cash, then that begs the question, can expats or people who are not from here get a mortgage here in Spain?
Um, Nowadays, it's harder to get mortgage. However, if you get your income somewhere in Europe, which is traceable, then yes. A part of that, I think the last, like about 5 years ago, they started to be very restricted, and banks are not really giving any mortgages, or if they do, it's a pretty um, hard, not hard, but like it's a pretty difficult percentage, which is not really kind of economically logical to take for the mortgage. Because right now it's about, with all the Euribor percentage, it's about 5 to 7% of
Wow.
the hypotheca, which rose a lot. Well, I mean, I would say it's closer to five, but still, sometimes it always depends on the bank you're talking to. There are several platforms which are not official banks, but they are willing to calculate hypotheca, the mortgage. But still, for the past couple of years, I haven't heard a case when it was approved for non-European resident to get a mortgage in Spain.
I see. Okay. And then another question that people have, is it better to get a new home or a secondhand home?
I like this question. Um, it depends on your final goal to buy a house, obviously. There are pros and cons in both of those. New construction houses are seem to be, well, I mean, first of all, you live in a brand new house. That's always a positive side of it. However, there are some minor inconveniences if you move into a brand new apartment from the moment, because you might have some issues with not connected internet yet, or not having hot water for a couple of months. On the other hand, the second-hand homes are already like time-proofed. So of course, there's usually some kind of renovations or reformation for your taste is needed if the apartment is in a good state. But usually, second-hand homes are already past all those time time checks of the previous users, previous owners. On the positive side, for pro construction houses, new construction houses, is that it ends up to be cheaper. But I think we'll discuss it in a bit later, because when you buy it on the pre-construction state, obviously you save a good 30-35% of the final cost of the homes. However, there are kind of risks some people are not willing to take, or just time wise, you want to start living in your new house by the new year, since just a couple of weeks left.
I see. Okay. So the other question is more for people who are investing. So if you
Yeah.
want to buy to invest, what type of opportunities are there available in Barcelona, Madrid, big cities?
Well, mentioned the new construction houses, so that's the if you have time and you want to invest, and I think it's a pretty good equivalent to mortgage, because when you enter on the pre-construction state of the building, you buy it with different stages of payments. It's like the payments are separated. So of course it's not mortgage, but still you're not paying the entire sum at the moment. It's usually divided into 3 to 5 payments, depending on the construction completeness. And I frequently get the question: is it safe to buy new construction which hasn't been finished yet? I would say yes, because by law, the banks are the creditors to the construction development company, and they're the ones taking responsibility for all the money paid already, and that will be paid. So that's one investment idea, because the prices in Barcelona and Madrid and like Spanish big countries keep growing up. Second, good idea might be a reformation of the old houses or old apartments. Often we see apartments that being neglected or just left because current payers don't really get opportunity to invest anything in those, and they just have the walls. And we, like, a lot of my clients are actually hunting for those apartments which are below market price. They do some restorations, reforms, and sell it. So like this, the usual flipping, but now it's very trendy in Barcelona. And one personal idea which I have, and I see it's pretty uh, likable and alive in Barcelona because of the current situation with rentals. Apartment rentals is insanely expensive, even comparing to the purchase price. So of course the usual investment to buy apartment and rent it for the long term is a good idea, but my model is to rent by bedrooms, I would say, because the hunting for apartment with 4 to 6 bedrooms and rent it to the separate people, it's more economically profitable because you pay less taxes, since it's not the entire apartment that brings you, not an entire apartment that brings you revenue, but it's a separate bedrooms which are not as trackable, and still it's like they have some tax discount because you give more home to different people. Also, it's just by margin more economically profitable. So each nice flat in the center or in a good neighborhood of Barcelona would cost about 5 to 900 euros per bedroom, which is, well, depending if the room has balcony, if it has ensuite bathroom, but the starting price is 500, which having 5 bedrooms is 2.5K on an apartment. And I think it's pretty good investment in this sense. It gives about 8% return annually.
Okay. Well, you certainly know your stuff. Thanks again. This is a pretty quick, digestible piece. We're going to do another one in 2 or 3 weeks. Is that correct?
Yes, after New Year's, I think.
Well, we always encourage people to send us their questions in advance so that you can answer them. One last question. Where would you recommend people take a look at within the city? What barrios within Barcelona would you recommend for people to invest?
I personally like the new developing barrios, or I mean, they are old ones, of course, but they are getting in trend now. So that would be like La Sagrera, Meridiana, everything above Poblenou, where because Poblenou is already in trend for a couple of years, but the above Diagonal, so it's like where Provinciales, where El Clote is. El Clote actually was named one of the most modern barrios this year. Every year there's like this ranking. And just yesterday I did a lot of visits around Hospitalet and Esplugues. That's not Barcelona city already, but there's a very thin front line there. So I would say that's also a good opportunity if you want a brand new apartment. If it's the second hand, I would say yes, Meridiana, like everything along Meridiana Avenue and El Clot and above Pobleno. That's a pretty interesting investment.
Okay. And then the last question is, how can people reach you directly with any questions that they may have?
By phone, LinkedIn, Instagram, and article we have in Metropolitan. There's all my credentials.
Okay. Right then, I just wanted to highlight you have a fantastic property in Tamariu
I
that
do.
you're looking to unload. You want to describe that one a little bit?
Yes, it's an amazing villa in Mediterranean coast that has the sea view. It's a pretty big house, but it's very well distributed, and it's a perfect place to spend summer or the entire year long. Amazing, very modern. It has even a lift in it, so it's swimming pool, barbecue for family and friends to celebrate the precious moments of the life.
Okay. Well, you can see her article in Metropolitan. And if you have any questions, you can reach her directly. We'll put the details in the text. And thank you. I'll see you in a couple of weeks to get more interesting bits on real estate and what you need to do to find your dream home in Barcelona or on the Med.
Thank you for having me, Victor. It was a
Talk to you
pleasure
soon.
as usual.
Take care, Lila.
Bye.